Carl on this wonderful Sunday, gloomy in Oklahoma, but better in Colorado, I think.
Well, a little cloudy.
We're doing an online live simply because Carl runs a pretty successful and very deeply rooted charity foundation that helps people that are going through divorce, that deal with domestic violence, and they deal with a bunch of things that are going on and personal relationships and dealing with kids and the question that's on my plate with Carl right now is how do we get more exposure to his organization to get the help that we need for these individuals. And he sent me a video that's a 13-minute YouTube video that I'm going to put in the comment section of this educational video. But what we're dealing with in marketing right now is the education, entertainment, edutainment. People are getting educated while they're being entertained online. So what we need to do, and when I decided to turn this into a live, when I was working, I was donating some time to Carl and his cause for marketing advice and consultation. I decided to turn this on because everybody can benefit it. I did a show on the Mark Hope podcast show, and you can go view that on the Marketing Hope podcast page on Facebook. But the problem is people have a 3-second entertainment window. If we don't get them in 3 seconds, they're not interested. So it's got to be 3 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, then 30 minutes. So what we need to do is we need to make a video that describes the problem. And then if they're interested in looking at that problem, then they click to the YouTube video that's a 3-minute video on a landing page. And if they're very interested in that, then they click deeper into the website and either fill out the web form or figure out how they can be involved. But if we don't get them in the first 10 seconds, they're not going to watch the video. They're not going to go to the website. They're not going to spend any time. It's like when they're on Tinder and they're looking for a date, swipe, 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 swipe. They don't have time to figure out that you went to Harvard. Are you cute? And do I like what your face looks like? That's what we're dealing with. And so what we need to do is we need to create content that is engaging on all of the platforms to put the fish hook out there to say, hey, are you dealing with this problem? And in your case, Carl, are you involved in a messy divorce and do you want help? That's it. And if they are, then we're going to be able to get that person engaged with the conversation that we're having. And there's so much, things we can do once we get them there. But, we have a Discord channel that people can get questions and answers done. You're doing politics to get some different lobbying things done for people, but we need to absolutely grab them and say, are you interested in more information, that's going on here? And we need to be doing fresh content that's micro content. I would say, depending on your budget and your resources and whatever you're doing, maybe there's a once a month thing, maybe there's a once a week thing, but we have to make a content package that goes out to all of the social medias, including drip email and including LinkedIn and Snapchat and Instagram. It needs to be that one short message that goes out to all of those medias. And then when people are reaching for more information, we're going to get to this 3-minute video. Does that make sense, Carl?
The logic of it, absolutely. And what I get all tripped up is in the heavy content and the complexity of the content that
Well, what we're doing right now on this video podcast is going to get recorded to YouTube and then drawn down. And this is the short format version of what we're talking about. And there's 5 stages that we go through with this audience collection. And what we're doing right now is valuable for rewatch. Your people are going to see a short form message that you could do with my producer, Sammy, and say, hey, are you getting punched in the face? And yes, click here. And then they'll go to this interview on one of your pages and they can watch you and I talk about it, and we'll write a script to do one of these interviews that deals with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm getting the feedback here. People can go through that gateway and say, okay, I need help. I want to sign up for the FairSplit software. It's normally $4.99 and you sell it for $99 for people if they go through your program, and that helps them to get resources on how to have a friendlier divorce. And there's resources that you have, but we can have different guests on the show, and you might want to start doing a little short podcast show with us that interviews people that have been, through the system, both good and bad. But we need to have engaging content that's engaging from the very first second that they see it. And I don't care if it's roofing, I don't care if it's making a fence, I don't care if it's your new babysitting business or the big charity thing that you're working on like you're doing. We need to find out what's going on, and then people will spend their time just like dollars, and people don't watch as much TV as they used to anymore. They're getting all of their information on this thing. So when it comes up in the social streams, it's like, oh, that pertains to me. So we use the artificial intelligence at my agency to attract the keywords and the specific people that we put the media out to. And, one of the biggest search engines besides Google out there is TikTok. So if we have somebody put a TikTok video together for us about divorce and domestic violence, there are people that are on TikTok that are searching for that resource. But we need to just make sure that all of those little waypoints are there. It's like if we're driving on a highway and we're going 90 mile an hour, we're only supposed to go 80 mile an hour, but we're going 90 mile an hour. If McDonald's tried to put their whole menu on the sign, zoom, we're going by it. We don't even know what it is. But we see those golden arches, we're turning off. And then when we get close enough, then we say, oh, the McRib's back. I'm going to have one of those. But if we would have put a big dissertation on the highway that takes half an hour to read, 90 mile an hour, zoom. Did it say something about a rib? I didn't see it. I don't know what it was. It said limited time, and I don't know what it was. So we need to find a golden arches for you. And then the people slow down long enough to listen about what you have, and your message is good, and so is the guy that makes the fence. I mean, I work with a lot of people that, put on roofs, and the 90 mile an hour message for them is we're going to help you get your deductible paid. We're going to get you a good solid roof, and we're going to help you save some money on your deductible because things are expensive. Zoom, 90 mile an hour. I got to get them right away. And then it's got to be something that's consistent and branded, because right now there's somebody who is happily married. They got 2.5 kids and a cat, and they're just fine. And they're watching this and they're saying, that's two old guys talking about divorce and making it easy. I don't need that. I'm happy as I can be. Well, let me tell you something.
Tomorrow could be a different story.
A year and a half from now, it's going to be everything's on fire, in shambles, and I don't know what to do. And they're going to be like, who were those two guys that were talking about that? And they don't remember because it's not branded content, and they can't go through their emails, or they can't go back to that channel or look on YouTube for that show, or be able to search that metric with those keywords and keep coming up, in that entertainment space. And it's the same thing I deal with realtors. They're best friends with somebody, and then that person goes and sells their house, and it's like, they don't call me. I'm your realtor. You didn't call me. And say, oh, I forgot. We have to stay branded and consistent and getting that message across for the problem. The solution, we can go ad nauseum when we have time to talk. But to get it out there, it needs to be, here's the problem, we're the solution. We don't have to give them the answer. We just have to tell them, I have the answer. So for instance, let's say that I run a gutter company, which I do. And so my advertising for that gutter company is not about how great the gutters are and everything. I show a foundation that's sinking into the yard and cracked window falling out. And it's like, hey, do you have gutters? No. Well, you're going to have this. Then they'll reach out for the 13-minute video. But you've got a gal that's volunteering over there, right?
Yeah.
So maybe what we do when she logs on is I can do another one of these podcast shows, and I will kind of coach her on setting up all of your social and get a head start on dropping that message in to, get people to watch that YouTube video.
God, I just swirl. I mean, there's so much. My mind just swirls and all this stuff. I get so lost in it.
Well, let me tell you something. You are not alone. There are going to be people that are rewatching this video on my channel, and you can share it over to your people and get some more exposure. But a lot of people feel that same way, and it's very complicated. I have a list of 50 things that small businesses and companies need to do with their social media and their advertising in the new age. And, it's a mountain to climb, but honestly, Carl, I know what you're doing, and I love the things that you're putting together, and, don't get discouraged. You are definitely putting in the work and, figuring out that puzzle, and it's not who the smartest person is in this game. It's who does it the longest and the most and gets the most progress done. That's the person who wins in advertising.
Yeah. The consistency and showing up and reaching the audience. And
this show has nothing to do about what you're doing. It has everything to do about what I'm doing.
Right.
So if anybody's interested in promoting their business, this is a good video for them. This is not a good video for what you're doing. What you're doing needs a video with your logo in the corner and me asking you questions about what is happening in the space that you're dealing with, and what's going on with the economy. Money is getting tight, and that is causing disruption in the house. Are you seeing that with the people that you're talking to?
Money's always an issue with, in this arena between the couples as well as when the lawyers start circling.
And I think that a lot of us are really getting pinched by this inflation and the cost of housing, and I'm dealing with a lot of divorce in my real estate practice. Nobody's selling their homes because they have a 3% or lower mortgage rate. But there's the 2 Ds that happen in real estate right now, and that's divorce and death.
Right.
And those 2 things create a sale of a piece of real estate when people don't really want to do that, because the due on sale cause on the loan comes when people die or they separate their. All right, babe. Tell her I said hi. That's how I stay happily married.
Yeah.
When your wife says she's going to the airport to drop the kiddo off, you, even if you're doing a podcast show, you have to answer.
Absolutely.
But the situation in a divorce, when you already, let's say that you have, $500,000 house and you have a $2,700 a month payment and you're at 3% loan and you get divorced and you have to sell that house and then you have to reborrow the same amount of money. Now you got a $4,400 a month payment. So what kind of stress does that put on everyone?
That's why they don't want to sell. They just want to be able to kind of keep with what they've got. But the fact of the matter is they're going to have to, or at least refinance just to get somebody else's name off the.
And that creates a lot of tension, and you throw in there that one of them was cheating. And so they can't even have a 3-word sentence without yelling at each other. That makes it hard to make a good decision that is in the children's best interest and in the people's long-term best interest.
Just everybody's happiness.
What we're dealing with is people that are cutting their nose off to spite their face because they're so mad at each other. And who can blame them? Who could blame them? Because I'm mad, and so hopefully
that's one of the things about divorces. Again, like I said, people kind of cut their nose back to the face. And so the single difference between a good and ugly divorce is simply that bad actor, but the bad actors are usually good people who just get tripped up by their emotions, right? And so they're angry with one another, maybe angry with themselves, or they get betrayed, or whatever the case may be. But until they can kind of keep their own emotions in check, give each other a little grace, they don't realize how impactful that will be to their future happiness.
And that's what you're trying to do, is to get them to realize, how much damage there is.
How much easier it is just to keep your emotions in check, give each other grace, and move forward.
With over 8 million broadcasts and over 6.
I wanted to play a video and I don't know how to add that. But anyway, you have the resources to help people do that. So the marketing plan for you is twofold. You want to reach out those people that you can help with your program, but we also need to reach out to people that are willing to donate, right?
Yeah, I mean, because certainly trying to change policy, change systems. That's the hard part, right? Meeting, yeah, with all the different system leaders and the policymakers in these systems, be it child protective services or the family courts, meeting with the family courts on a regular basis, and the policymakers in those, and we got big meetings coming up with CPS, child support. These are the systems that traditionally kind of pit parents against one another instead of encouraging them to work together for the betterment of everybody involved.
Copy that.
So it's kind of the victim culture that we live in that kind of again exacerbates so much of the problem.
Well, it comes down to communication. It always does.
Individually, yes.
I think in all things, if we can continue to talk and really get communication to each other, it helps. And I applaud what you're doing, Carl. I've worked with you for quite a while, and I think you're getting there. I do think we need to get you a donor, so that, the people that are concerned about this issue can, give you $1,500 a month just to get a micro video strategy and a micro advertising strategy just to put these seeds out. Once you get on the macro and you're with the clients or with the people that care about it, you've got all of the material that you need. It's just that McDonald's sign on the highway, I think, is what we're solving for you. And so if I can help you with some resources, reach back out to me and we'll try to develop that program. And we certainly have the resources to discuss that. And, videos like the one today, people are interested in hearing that.
Yeah, I just gotta be able to kind of take this or stuff like this, and then again, get it in digestible, that 3 second,
Exactly.
second, and on, and be able to kind of again have that consistency, getting it out there
Well, and everything is a marketing problem, and it's problem, solution, answer. And so, we just need to make something shareable, because every business or organization or whatever it is that needs clientele is always 80% previous customers and customer referrals, and 10% new ears or new eyes or new customers. So in this case, the marketing piece that I make for you and your organization is, do you know someone suffering from, X, domestic violence based on divorce or whatever it is? And we make a little 30-second shareable video. And then it's not necessarily the person, but it's Aunt Jean or Grandma May that sees that and then sends that video to the man or the woman or the grandson or the nephew or whatever. Says, hey, I think this is what you're going through. You guys just had that fight at Thanksgiving dinner. You guys should watch this video. And that's how that spreads. People are interested for other people. How do we get them your information? Right?
Yeah, so they can make better decisions for themselves instead of emotional decisions.
And the family and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, the informed decisions versus the emotional decisions.
So, Carl, I'm gonna end this stream because we've already gone almost a half an hour. But how do they reach you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the website, Carl at coloradoresilience.org.
And do you want to give them a phone number?
303-810-5279.
All right.